This is the first time in the history of Houston that a parade has been gone down Main Street without having at least some horses in it. As a matter of fact, there are not any people on foot in this parade. And this is Deke Slayton. Donald Kent Slayton, who is a major in the United States Air Force. He's 37 years old, 5 feet 10 and a half, a rugged-looking individual. His wife there with him is the former Marjorie Lunny, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. George Lunny of Los Angeles. And he's receiving a tremendous ovation from the crowd that are lining the turn at Main and Bell in downtown Houston. And in the foreground now, with the two police motorcycle escorts alongside, is the first of the astronauts, at least in our way of thinking, Alan B. Shepard, commander of the United States Navy, 37 years old also, as is Deke Slayton. Alan a little taller, he's 5'11", weighs 160 pounds, and he's being accompanied by his wife, the former Louise Brewer of Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. Two daughters are also with him, Juliana and Laura. A great thrill for the crowd. Watch them. A very, very fine picture of a young man, but it's in a sort of a light vein on his way up. This coming now is Walter Marty Schirra, Jr., Project Mercury astronaut as the others are. Walter Schirra is 38 years of age. He's 5'10", also a little heavier, weighs 170 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. And though he's not accompanied by his wife, she is the former Josephine Fraser of Seattle, Washington. They have a couple of kids, Walter III and Suzanne. Walter A. Schirra, Jr. We'll be hearing more from him. He's one of the soon scheduled boys, and there is a flight to be made in the latter part of September, according to the latest release from the Project Mercury. In the foreground now, Virgil Grissom, Captain, United States Air Force. Virgil is the smallest of the astronauts, 5 feet 7 inches tall, 150 pounds, brown eyes and brown hair. And Mrs. Grissom, who is sitting beside him, is the former Betty Moore. They have two sons, Scott and Mark. Both of them should be in the car there with them, too. Virgil, I'm sure you've heard of, and his face is familiar to you, as is the face of all of the astronauts who formerly have been up. Astronaut Virgil Grissom. And of course, this, I think, is possibly the favorite of all the astronauts, a man who is able to control his spaceship and his mind and thoughts and talk at the same time. John Herschel Glenn, Jr., Lieutenant Colonel of the Marine Corps. John is very close to his, 43rd birthday, 5 feet 10 and a half, 168 pounds, and accompanying him are his wife, the former Anna Margaret Castor. They have two children, both of them seated there in a rear seat with them, and they are John David and Carolyn Ann, and Carolyn Ann is a very, very pretty little girl. John is the only one who incidentally has red hair. What he has left of his hair is red. John Glenn, Jr. And you see the applause that he is drawing from this crowd that we have. Estimated now at slightly over 500,000 people lining the main street of Houston, Texas. And this, Leroy Gordon Cooper, Jr., a major in the U.S. Air Force, from Shawnee, Oklahoma, 5 feet 9, 150 pounds, 34 years of age, and another of the astronauts, and perhaps one of the most handsome of the astronauts. His wife is with him, Trudy Olson, formerly Trudy Olson of Seattle, Washington, a very beautiful girl, and their two daughters there in the front, in the back seat. Leroy G. Clipper, another boy who you will hear from in the future. He has 2,600 hours flying time, 1,600 of which are in jets. Number 7 of the astronauts in this parade, and one of the boys soon to be going aboard a spacecraft, is Malcolm Scott Carpenter. Scott Carpenter is a lieutenant commander in the Navy, born May 1st, 25, 5 feet 10 and a half, weighs 155, green eyes and brown hair, and look at the crowd go wild over him. With him is his wife, Renee Louise, and their 3 children. A very, very interesting, tall, lanky fellow who looks like he's really going to go. And he will. He'll be going places along with the rest of them.
That is the national anthem of Texas. We are deeply proud of the fact that all of you people with the Manned Spacecraft Center are moving to our area, are going to live here with us, be our friends and our neighbors, that we're going to have the opportunity to work with you, to play with you, and to worship with you. We have a man up on the platform here with us today that all of you know by reputation. That is the voice of Mercury Control. I refer to none other than Colonel John, better known as Shorty Powers. Colonel Powers, will you come up, please?
Seems to me, I remember a story somebody told me that said, hey, if the boss calls, get his name. And so that there won't be any questions in any of your minds, I would like, and I do this with a great deal of pleasure and privilege, and just to see them and acknowledge them, introduce to you Dr. and Mrs. Bob, the boss. Then there's another fellow, our associate director and his wonderful family, Mr. Walter C. Williams. Helen? Charles?
It is indeed a pleasure to be here for this very fine occasion, to welcome you to Houston and Harris County, and to deputize these fine men of space. If I call your names, would you step up here, because I can't carry these cords and this list? Will Lieutenant Commander Malcolm Scott Carpenter step forward, please? This is your credentials. And This is your badge. Pleasure. Pleasure to have you with us. Well, Captain Leroy Gordon Cooper, Jr., come forward. This is your membership in the posse and your credentials. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Lieutenant Colonel John Herschel Glenn. Your credentials, Colonel. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. We were exhorted to look, act, and talk the part. We now look the part. We'll follow your lead in acting the part, and howdy.
Well, Captain Virgil Grissom, alias Gus. I think they called you Gus here a little while ago, didn't they?
That's right.
Glad to have you with us. Your credentials and your badge. That's not fast going, so watch it. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you, sir.
Commander Walter Marty Schirra. I pronounced that right?
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Glad to have you with us. Credentials and your badge.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you with us. Commander Allen Bartlett Shepard, Jr. Your credentials? Badge? Happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We understand this is where in the Coliseum, where they have the fat stock show. We're sorry that we're too lean and mean to qualify, but we're glad to be here anyway.
Major Donald Clint Slayton. You're right on the end, Jim. There's your credentials. Pleasure to have you with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
In Project Apollo, as you know, we have the manned lunar landing program, which the President has established as a national goal to be accomplished within this decade. This three-man spacecraft is being developed also under the direction of the Manned Spacecraft Center. The Apollo launches will be made from Cape Canaveral, but the flight mission will be monitored and controlled from a Mission Control Center here in Houston. The Mission Control Center here in Houston will involve a major complex of electronic computing and communications gear to tie together a worldwide network of tracking stations operated by the NASA and the Department of Defense. All of this equipment will be in operation well in advance of actual flights in order that we can practice with it and develop flight control techniques and procedures, train ground crew personnel, train astronauts, and generally debug the whole system in order to be ready for operation when the launch occurs.